They said his death would be the end of an era. But what if it was only the beginning? When Pope Francis died at the age of 88, millions mourned the man. But few realized they were also mourning the final breath of a prophecy whispered for nearly 1,000 years. The bells that rang across Rome weren't just announcing the end of a pontificate. They were echoing the words of a chilling revelation, one that foretells a spiritual deception so massive, so seductive, it could mark the true end of the world. He has been called many names: the last pope, the false shepherd, the black pope. But who or what is he really? As the world spirals into chaos, pandemics, wars, moral collapse, and the rise of unseen powers, many are looking back to forgotten texts, ancient visions, and forbidden prophecies. Because according to some of the most cryptic writings in religious history, the next man to sit on the throne of Peter may not be a savior but a beast in disguise, and it has already begun. In the 12th century, an Irish archbishop named Saint Malachy supposedly received a vision, an apocalyptic timeline, of all future popes. He wrote 112 short Latin phrases, each one symbolically describing a pontiff. Many were eerily accurate, but the final entry was terrifying. In persecutione extrema sre sedebit Petrus Romanus, who shall nourish the sheep in many tribulations. When they are finished, the city of 7 hills shall be destroyed, and the dreadful judge will judge his people. Petrus Romanus, Peter the Roman, the last pope. Under his reign, Rome falls. The final judgment begins. Strangely, Pope Francis was the 266th pope, but also the 112th in Malachy's list. And though he wasn't called Peter, his real name, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, traces back to Italian roots, and he was the first Jesuit pope. The very order often linked with the Black Pope of conspiracy. But if Francis wasn't Petrus Romanus, then the next pope might be. And that's what truly terrifies the scholars, mystics, and even clergy who secretly follow this ancient warning. The book of Daniel, chapter 7, offers one of the Bible's most cryptic and disturbing visions. Hence, I was considering the horns, behold, there came up among them another little horn. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. Daniel 7:8. This little horn was not a political king, but a religious power, one that speaks against the Most High, changes laws, and persecutes the faithful. It's subtle, charismatic, deceptive. He shall speak words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints, and shall think to change the times and the law. Daniel 7:25. This is no ordinary tyrant. This is someone who rises from within the religious establishment, someone who claims to represent God, but opposes him with doctrine twisted by charm and heresy. In modern interpretations, some believe this little horn refers to a religious figurehead who will lead the world into spiritual destruction, not by war, but by false mercy. A man who wears a robe of purity, but speaks with the tongue of the serpent. Now enter the book of Revelation, chapter 13, where the true horror unfolds. 2 beasts appear. One rises from the sea, a monstrous political power, violent and tyrannical. But the second rises from the earth. It's softer, gentler, religious, but it is the more dangerous of the 2. Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, but he spoke as a dragon. Revelation 13:11. This second beast is the false prophet. He performs miracles, calls down fire from heaven, convinces the masses to worship the first beast, but his power lies in deception, not destruction. Many theologians believe this represents a global religious leader, admired and trusted, who leads the world into worshipping a corrupt system, a spiritual dictatorship masquerading as peace. Think about it. A pope who performs miracles, calls for unity, and promotes global tolerance, but beneath the robe carries the mark of the beast. The Apostle Paul in 2 Thessalonians 2 warns of a time before Christ's return when a man will rise, not in violence, but in doctrinal betrayal. Let no one deceive you in any way, for that day will not come unless the rebellion comes first, and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the son of destruction. 2 Thessalonians 2:3 Paul says, "This man will sit in the temple of God, claiming to be God, not a dictator, not a tyrant, but a religious impostor, a wolf in shepherd's clothing." What if that temple is not a physical building but the church itself? What if the next pope does not uphold Christ's truth, but replaces it with his own? What if in the name of mercy and progress, he blesses sin, twists doctrine, and calls light darkness? That is the danger Paul saw, and it may be upon us now. Even the Catechism of the Catholic Church, Article 675, speaks of a final deception. Before Christ's second coming, the Church must pass through a final trial that will shake the faith of many believers. The persecution will unveil the mystery of iniquity in the form of a religious deception. A deception that offers a false solution to humanity's problems at the cost of abandoning the truth. Imagine this. A future pope preaches love and inclusion, but slowly erodes the foundation of doctrine. He blesses what was once condemned. He calls for unity while separating truth from faith. He leads billions into apostasy, and all the while the world applauds, because the final battle, according to prophecy, won't be fought with guns, but with ideas. Not in trenches, but on pulpits. It will not come with fire and brimstone, but with a smile, a sermon, and a soft voice that seduces the soul. Let's go deeper into darkness. In 1555, Michel de Nostradamus published his famed Prophecies, a book of cryptic quatrains many believe predict global events. One interpretation speaks of 3 final popes: a foreign pope, John Paul II from Poland, an old pope, Benedict XVI, and then the Black Pope. Some claimed this title referred to Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope, whose order is traditionally dressed in black robes. But his death, some argue, proves he was not the final one. Which leads us to now, to the one who comes next. According to the Malachy prophecy, this will be Petrus Romanus. Whether literal or symbolic, the implications are chilling, because the final pope, they say, will reign not as a shepherd, but as a deceiver. As the conclave nears, 2 names are rising to the surface. Peter Turkson, 76, from Ghana, an advocate of social justice and environmental reform; Robert Serra, 79, from Guinea, a staunch traditionalist, critical of modernism. Both are African, both are cardinals. And both, if elected, would be considered symbolic fulfillments of the Black Pope prophecy. Is it their skin color? Perhaps. But many believe black represents not race, but spiritual darkness, a veil of mystery. The obscured truth. Either way, the world watches. Because when that white smoke rises again from the Vatican chimney, it may signal more than a new pope. It may signal the start of the final chapter. This is not a warning about a man. It is a warning about an idea. A movement, a seductive power that speaks of peace but drips with poison. The Bible doesn't say the world will end in flames. It says it will end in deception. A false prophet, a lamb with the voice of a dragon. And the question is, will we recognize him when he comes with open arms, or will we be among the many who cheer, clap, and bow before him? The Black Pope may not be who we think he is. He may not be black in robe or skin, but in spirit. and the next papal blessing might just be the kiss of the beast, because the end will not come as a scream, but as a smile, not as fire, but as faith corrupted, not with blood, but with belief twisted, and only those who endure to the end will be saved.